Hey guys, my name is John. I had this custom queen size bed in one of our bedrooms and we decided we needed more space. So today I'm going to show you how I turn this bed into a Murphy bed. Stay tuned, see how it goes.
After we demoed the old bed frame, I decided to begin by making the box that my mattress could sit into. I decided to go with 11 1/4 inches because that was about half of what this sheet of plywood that I had available.
So I've cut 4 strips of my 1/2 inch plywood. I cut them 11 1/4 inches wide. All 4 of them are the same, making my box for my bed. Since my queen size bed is 80 inches by 60 inches, I need to then make them measurements. I'm going to cut 2 of these boards that are 60 inches long, and then I'm going to cut 2 of them that are 81 inches since I have 1/2 inch boards. Now that I've got everything cut, I'm going to take my 2 60-inch pieces and I will use my pocket hole kit, and I'll put pocket holes in both ends of the shorter pieces. I'm putting 5 on each end, so I measured about 2 inches apart. I'm going to do a screw hole every 2 inches all the way down on both of the 60-inch pieces. Now that we've got the pocket holes in the shorter pieces, we're going to lay the box out on the floor and we will join at all 4 corners. Since I'm using 1/2 inch plywood, I'm using 1 inch pocket hole screws. I've seen where some people on YouTube have put this layer on the inside of the box. I wanted it sitting on the top ledge. That way keep me from boxing that edge in when I get done, hopefully. I just had pieces of plywood different widths, so I had to use 3 sheets to get all the way across, and I still used 1/2 inch plywood because that's what I had. I used my brad nailer to go around the edge and tack it in. Need to put braces in there to hold the mattress, help support it. So I'm going to cut, I just happen to have some 2x6s laying around. I will cut strips by 59 and 7/8 inches long just to make sure I can fit it in that 60-inch wide bed frame. And for my bed supports that I cut earlier, I went ahead and put my pocket drill holes, pre-drilled them, 2 on each end, and then I put 1 every 12 inches down it. Alright, we've got 6 support braces we're going to put in here for the mattress. I came in 6 inches from each edge, this edge and that edge, and then I spaced them out 13 1/4 inches in between the rest of them. So far, the only piece of wood that I've had to buy is a sheet of 3/4 inch plywood. I'm going to use that plywood for my bed frame, or for my main frame that the bed folds up into. I'm cutting that 15 and 5/8 inches wide. I had two bookshelves like this that was sitting in my garage not doing anything, so I decided to use them for my bookshelves rather than investing in the material and the time to make my own. These 3/4 inch sheets of plywood are going to be my wall frame for the bed because my bookshelves were not high enough. Once I got the side nailed on here, I then took my boat seat swivel and I wanted to get it lined up to where I can mark the holes to drill them out. I lined it up, made sure that my boat seat swivel was going to be high enough to give adequate support on my bed side, and I moved it in off the edge about 1.5 inches. I marked them holes and then drilled through, and then installed T-nuts on the bookshelf side, so that way that my bolts could be flush and not sticking out, and I didn't have to worry about a nut or a bolt head on the bookshelf side. From there, I then lined up the whole bookshelf side to the bed, lined it up flush across the front. Then I used my drill and drilled through for a template, or drilled through to make sure that I was going to be perfectly in line with the bed side and the bookshelf side. Then I took my other piece of 3/4 and I also used this existing side for my template for the other side. Piece of 1/2 inch board here for added support for the boat seat swivel hinge. Use this 3/4 as my template for the screw holes inside. I've got the 3/4 inch plywood on this other side bookshelf and drill out my holes. For these T-nuts, just line them up in the hole once the hole's big enough. And since it's soft wood, knock them in with a hammer, start them, and then I'll let the bolt pull them in the rest of the way. Now that it's time to put the boat seat swivel on for the hinge, I used 5/16 inch bolts by 1.5 inches long on the back, since I'm going through two pieces of 3/4 inch plywood. And on the front side, I'll need just 5/16 by 3/4 inch bolts. My next cuts will be cutting the side of plywood just above the box. I'll cut it 2 1/4 inches above where my bed box is. That way it will allow for it to swivel out and not hit. I will then take another sheet of 3/4 plywood and connect the two once I get it in place. After those cuts, I should be able to get it inside and put a dry fit and then assemble everything. We finally got the box in here and we got the bookshelves inside. We're trying to get it fit. I've got the other side over there already bolted in. I'm going to show you how we bolt in on this closest side to us. First I want to show you one little trick. I had to use a wrench in between my boat seat swivel, and to hold my nuts in, put tape on the inside of the wrench. That way I can reach in there and hold the nut without it falling out. Alright, we got the bolts in on both boat seat swivels. I will now try to pick the bed up, make sure we clear the fan, and make sure it's going to work. Last piece of board that I have to cut was this 3/4 inch plywood. I cut it 62.5 inches. It's going to go across the top. I'll put a little bit of wood glue on there first, then I'll tack it in with my brad nails. I found some scrap pieces that I had. I cut 45s on each edge. I'm going to put them in the back side of my box up top. They'll sit in like that. Tack them in, glue them in, and then I'll be able to find a stud, and this will help secure the Murphy bed frame to a stud. Now I'm going to go through the steps that I'm going to do to make the legs, which is going to look like a floating bookshelf when I get done. When I measured my bed, I noticed I needed to be 8.5 inches off the ground, so that's how I'm going to make this bookshelf. This piece of 3/4 inch plywood was my old footboard off the old bed. I'm going to take it and I will rip different pieces to make my floating bookshelf. Right now I'm going to assemble my shelf. Start with my 2x4 frame first. Gonna put a little wood glue on here. It may not be necessary, but I got it. I'll go ahead and do it. And yeah, I probably could use screws on this, but hey, anytime you get a chance to use a pass load nailer, I try to use it. Alright, now we'll take it inside, mount it to the bed frame, and we will wrap it with the plywood. In case it was hard to understand earlier what I was talking about on my cuts for my bookshelf frame, I'll go over it once again. 48 inches long here, and originally I measured that I needed 8.5 inches off of the floor for my bed to sit level once it's laid out. So in order to do that, my bed's 5 foot wide. I wanted it to support most of the way across, so I just cut it 48 inches, 4 foot wide. And then from there, I took my 2x4s going this way. I measured them 6.25 inches, and that gives me from when I set it up there. You'll see how I set it up there in a second. Set it up there. That gives me 7.75 inches there. And then since I'm using 3/4 inch plywood, that'll give me the extra 3/4 of an inch, and I'll be dead on 8.5 inches. And therefore, when I lay the bed flat, it should be level. For up here, like I said, it was a 5 foot bed. This is 4 foot, so I went ahead and made my marks. I come in pretty much 6 inches on each side, and I'm trying to go into one of my runners on the back side. I'll show you once I drop the bed and I'll finish nailing it. I'll just stick a couple nails in now and then drop it down, nail it from the top. I measured 21 inches from the top, and that's going to line up right on that second stud right here. And therefore, if I come back and nail through that stud, I should be nailing into the 2x4 that's on the back side for the legs. Bada bing, bada boom. Alright guys, I think I'm going to wrap this video up even though I'm not done painting it. And it's not totally finished, but this video is probably long enough. You can get the gist of how to build it. You can finish it out how you'd like, paint it, stain it, whatnot. But I do want to show you a couple little things I'm going to do to finish up. I got some knobs from Tractor Supply where you can stick a bolt through. I don't have long enough bolts right now, but to hold it up there, I'm going to drill a hole through the side, and I'll put a T-nut. I'll put a T-nut on the bed side and use my bolt that's long enough and this little swivel handle, or I'll just use this as my handle. I'll do that on both sides to secure my bed up whenever it's not in use. Don't forget that you need to nail it to the wall, secure it to the wall some type of way. Put a couple screws or lag bolts in studs. And one more thing for finishing touch I think I'm going to do. I believe I'm going to get some 1x3s, and where I've got this gap all the way around, I'm probably going to cover up this raw edge here. I'm going to lay it in here, and I'm going to tack it to the bottom side of the box for the bed. That way when I fold it up, it's going to give it a clean edge all the way around. I'll do that up the sides, around the top, on both sides. Then I imagine I'm going to paint the room, or paint the whole bed and the shelves. I'm not sure what color we'll paint them yet, but I imagine we'll paint them to finish them out. Thanks for watching. I hope you learned a lot. If you have any questions, shoot me a comment, ask away. Please like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.